3 weeks ago, a fast bowler did something only 4 other men in West Indies history have ever managed. On June 28, 2026, Kemar Roach took his 300th Test wicket, becoming just the 5th West Indian and only the 2nd Barbadian after Courtney Walsh to ever reach that number. This is the real story of Kemar Roach. Kemar Andre Jamal Roach was born on June 30, 1988, in St. Lucie, Barbados, the same small parish that's produced generations of the island's fast bowlers. He wasn't a towering, physically imposing quick in the mold of Ambrose or Walsh. At 5'8", he generated his pace differently, through a quick, whippy arm action rather than raw height, something that made selectors and coaches take notice early, even though he didn't look like the prototype. He came up through Barbados's domestic system, playing for the island since 2006, before West Indies selectors gave him his first look on the international stage. His rise happened fast. He made his T20 international debut in 2008 against Australia, followed shortly by his ODI debut against Bermuda that same year. Then, in July 2009, he made his Test debut against Bangladesh, and he didn't ease into international cricket quietly. In that very series, he finished as the leading wicket-taker, claiming 10 wickets at an average of just over 16, an emphatic first impression that had experienced opponents taking notice immediately. Australian captain Ricky Ponting, someone who'd faced down the best fast bowlers in the world for over a decade, praised the young Roach's control and precision after facing him in December of that year. That's not the kind of thing a legendary batsman says about just any debutant. For the next few years, Roach built a reputation as one of the most consistently dangerous fast bowlers in the world, someone who could trouble any batting lineup on his day. He wasn't the tallest or the most naturally terrifying quick on the circuit, but he had something just as valuable: relentless accuracy paired with late swing that made him difficult to settle against, even when he wasn't at his absolute fastest. In 2012, he became the first West Indies bowler in 7 years to take 10 wickets in a single Test match. And that same year, in a home series against New Zealand, he was named Player of the Series after a string of dominant performances, at one point taking figures of 5 wickets for just 1 run. He also became just the 6th bowler in history to take a hat trick at a Cricket World Cup, doing it during the 2011 tournament. By his mid-20s, Roach looked like a lock to be one of the defining fast bowlers of his generation, mentioned in the same breath as the island's long line of great Barbadian quicks stretching back generations. Then his career hit the kind of obstacle that ends most players outright. In 2014, ahead of a scheduled tour of New Zealand, Roach was involved in a serious car accident. His vehicle flipped multiple times, and he was hospitalized. He missed the tour entirely, and for a player who relied on pace, rhythm, and physical conditioning, the kind of injuries that come from a crash like that can permanently change how a fast bowler's body holds up over the following years. He came back, but the road wasn't finished testing him. In 2017, Roach suffered a serious shoulder injury, the kind that fast bowlers genuinely fear more than almost anything else, because shoulders don't always recover the way other injuries do. There were real moments where it looked like his international career might simply be over. Roach has spoken since about how uncertain that period actually felt, a fast bowler in his late 20s, watching the one asset his entire career was built on suddenly become the thing threatening to end it. In interviews since, he's said plainly that he's a better, smarter bowler now than he was at his fastest, a rare admission from an athlete that the version of himself people remember from highlight reels wasn't actually his peak. He didn't retire. He rebuilt. Over the years that followed, Roach adjusted his game. Where he'd once relied more heavily on raw pace, injuries forced him to lean further into control, seam movement, and precision. The kind of skills that keep a fast bowler effective, well past the age when pure speed starts to fade. It's part of why, unlike a lot of quicks who burn out in their early 30s, Roach was still taking test wickets for the West Indies at 37 and 38 years old, deep into a career that had every reason to have ended a decade earlier. That resilience is really what makes the 300-wicket milestone mean something beyond the raw number. He reached it during a dominant West Indies innings win over Sri Lanka at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua, finishing that test as the standout bowler in a result that mattered for the team's push in the ongoing World Test Championship cycle. Cricket West Indies president Dr. Kishore Shallow specifically credited Roach's professionalism and sustained excellence when the board announced its tribute, noting he'd been the standard-bearer for West Indies fast bowling for well over a decade. 3 weeks later, at the on-field ceremony in Barbados, in partnership with the Barbados government and the Barbados Cricket Association, Roach was formally honored in front of his home crowd, with fans given free admission to the match to mark the occasion. His final tally sits at 300 test wickets, at an average of roughly 28.83, an economy rate of 3.10, 12 5-wicket hauls across his career, and 1 10-wicket match haul. He now holds the record among current-era West Indies bowlers for the most 5-wicket innings hauls in tests. That places him in genuinely rare company. Only 4 other West Indians have ever reached 300 test wickets: Courtney Walsh with 519, Sir Curtly Ambrose with 405, Malcolm Marshall with 376, and Lance Gibbs with 305. Roach isn't just in that club. He's the only man on that list still actively adding to his total. Away from the numbers, Roach has built a career spanning far more than just international cricket. He's played county cricket in England for Worcestershire, then later for Surrey, and, most recently, Durham, giving him a level of exposure to different conditions and different batting lineups that helped extend his effectiveness well into his late 30s. Playing county cricket deep into your career, on cold, unglamorous days in England far from any international spotlight, is exactly the kind of unseen work that keeps a fast bowler's skills sharp long after the pace has naturally dropped off. He's also played franchise T20 cricket around the world, including a stint with Deccan Chargers in the IPL, the Brisbane Heat in Australia, and multiple Caribbean Premier League franchises back home. That kind of well-traveled, multi-format career is part of how modern fast bowlers actually sustain both their skills and their income across a career this long. Patching together contracts across 3 or 4 different leagues and formats in a way earlier generations of West Indies bowlers rarely had access to. Now, about what a milestone like this is actually worth. Here's where we have to be honest with you, because a lot of channels will throw out a specific dollar figure attached to a moment like this, and we're not going to do that. We looked, and there's no publicly reported endorsement deal, bonus, or sponsorship bump specifically tied to Roach's 300th wicket. What we can tell you is that general net worth estimates for Roach, built from nearly 2 decades of international contracts, county deals, IPL and CPL earnings, sit in the low millions of dollars. Though like almost every figure in this space, that number comes from unofficial trackers rather than any disclosed financial statement. The real worth of this milestone isn't a number that's been publicly attached to it. It's what it represents. Standing alongside Ambrose, Marshall, Walsh, and Gibbs isn't something you get from a single good season or a lucrative contract. It's the byproduct of surviving a car accident, rebuilding from a shoulder injury that could have ended everything, and still being good enough, 17 years after his debut, to take 4 wickets in the same innings that pushed him past $300. Roach has stayed notably private about his personal life throughout his career. He was raised by both his mother and father in Barbados, and by his own account, his family supported him even during periods when money was genuinely tight. He has a sister he's close with, and according to details he's shared occasionally on social media, he also has a son and a daughter, though he's kept most other details about his family life out of the public eye entirely. Away from cricket, those who know him describe a low-key personality who enjoys cars and fishing. someone who doesn't chase the spotlight the way some athletes of his caliber do. He's also become an active mentor to younger fast bowlers coming up through Barbados' system, something people close to the program describe as a genuine priority for him, not just a public relations talking point. What makes Roach's story stand out isn't just the milestone itself. It's the shape of the 17 years it took to get there. A career that started with an emphatic 10-wicket debut series, nearly ended in a car wreck 5 years later, nearly ended again with a shoulder injury a few years after that. And somehow, despite all of it, produced enough 5-wicket hauls, enough county seasons, enough 5-4s on flat pitches around the world, to eventually put his name in the same sentence as Courtney Walsh and Curtly Ambrose. That's not a story about a naturally gifted player cruising to a milestone. That's a story about a player who simply refused to stop showing up, year after year, injury after injury, until the numbers finally caught up to the resilience.